Today's lesson is enjoying some salads. Hi, everybody. I'm Roger.
And I'm Mike.
And today we're talking about having some salads, which, of course, are kinds of food that are made primarily with vegetables, raw vegetables like lettuce and green peppers and Brussels sprouts or whatever. There's lots of stuff you can put on salads. Mike, are you a great salad eater?
I do love me a nice salad. I try to make my own salad dressing, have it in the fridge. And if I'm at the store, I'll buy one of the... I have sort of a 5-ingredient salad that I always have everything ready for. I might add a few things to it, but as long as I have lettuce, tomatoes, cucumbers, peppers, and an onion, I'm a happy man. I can make myself a nice salad. And there are actually some amazingly varied types of salads. So if you say, oh, I don't like your traditional green salad, well, don't give up because salads come in all shapes and sizes. There are even warm salads for those of you who don't like to have those crunchy, cold vegetables. So let's enjoy some salads with Keith and Sandy. Enjoying some salads.
I'll just have a salad. Keith asks Sandy if she'd like to go to lunch with him.
Hey, Sandy, want to go get some lunch?
To be honest, I'm not very hungry. This heat is kind of crushing my appetite.
Yeah, it's definitely a scorcher out there. I know a new restaurant that makes some great salads, though, if you'd prefer something light.
Actually, a salad does sound refreshing. So, lead the way.
I love all the ingredient options they offer here.
Yeah, it's nice how they let you pick your proteins and other add-ons. So, what kind of protein do you usually go for?
Well, I love the salmon, but today I'm going to have chicken and hard-boiled egg. How about you?
I think I'll keep it vegetarian and go with the tofu.
Good call. And do you like anything crunchy in your salads, like croutons or nuts?
Croutons for sure. I love the texture.
A classic choice, though I prefer nuts myself.
Well, to each his own. Anyway, thanks for suggesting this place, Keith.
大家好，第一部分我们先看到动词 crush， 它的意思是摧毁、彻底击垮或是压碎。例如 An accident crushed Mark's dreams of becoming a professional athlete. 一场意外毁了 Mark 成为职业运动员的梦想。又或者说 To make wine the traditional way, you need to first crush the grapes with your feet. 要用传统方式制作葡萄酒，你需要先用你的脚踩碎葡萄。下一个我们介绍名词 protein， 它指的是蛋白质。例如 Protein is very important for muscle growth. 蛋白质对肌肉生长非常重要。或者 Meat, eggs, and nuts are good sources of protein. 肉、蛋和坚果是良好的蛋白质来源。再来我们看到单字 vegetarian， 它是形容词，意思是素食的、无肉的。举例来说This restaurant has an excellent vegetarian menu. 这间餐厅有很棒的素食菜单。接下来我们介绍形容词 crunchy， 它的意思是食物上松脆的或是鲜脆的。例如 Melissa prefers crunchy cookies to soft ones. Melissa 喜欢酥脆的饼干胜过软饼干。又或者说 Crunchy carrot sticks make a nice healthy snack. 鲜脆的胡萝卜条是美味健康的点心。
Okay, so this is in part 1 of our lesson for today. I'll just have a salad. I should mention that salad can be a noun-count and a countable noun, like how much salad did you eat? Oh, I had 1 bowl of salad, for example. But if you're talking about a specific kind of salad, like a seafood salad or a Mexican salad, then it becomes countable.
That's true. And of course, when you get it to take away, they'll come packed in individual salads. So you could say, oh, I need 3 salads for me and my coworkers. But yes, on a table, usually it's a large bowl, and then you have some salad. So let's see what kind of salad and where they're having salad. Of course, part 1 is titled, I'll just have a salad. So maybe someone's on a diet. That's the kind of thing you might say, oh, no burgers or pizza for me. I'll just have a salad. I'm on a diet. Well, it says Keith asks Sandy if she'd like to go to lunch lunch with him. So Keith, he extends this invitation. Hey, Sandy, he says, want to go get some lunch? So it doesn't really sound like a date. Sounds like just a casual thing, a couple of friends having lunch together. But Keith might be having a solo lunch, it seems.
Could be indeed. He wants to have some company here. And Sandy says, well, to be honest, I'm not very hungry. This heat is kind of crushing my appetite. So now is the month of June, and it's starting to get hotter and hotter every day. And of course, if we're in school or in the office in a nice air-conditioned room, we don't really want to go outside because it's a scorcher out there. This is a slang term to describe a very hot day. The verb to scorch means to burn something, usually the surface of something. But in this particular case, oh, it's a scorcher out there just means it's really hot outside.
And Sandy used the term crushing her appetite. The heat is crushing her appetite. You know how that is. It's a hot day. Your friends really want to have ramen or something. You're like, ugh, hot soup and noodles on a hot day? No, thank you. I'm not hungry for that. If you have no appetite, you're not hungry. If something's crushing your appetite, here we're using crushing in a casual, sort of creative way, kind of saying destroying or ruining your appetite. If you crush something, you break it, you destroy it, you smash it, or something like that. But yes, we're using it in a slightly unusual way. You might say, oh, tell me about that horror movie. Wow, it sounds bloody. It's really crushing my enthusiasm. You're kind of taking away what was my feeling before, my feeling of being hungry. In Sandy's case, I don't really want to have lunch because the heat is crushing my appetite. Keith said, yeah, it's a scorcher out there. He agrees. It's really hot out there. It's a hot summer day. He adds, I know a new restaurant that makes some great salads, though, if you'd prefer something light. Okay, so there you go. Maybe not a bowl of noodles or a heavy cheesy pizza on a hot day. Something light, something more like a salad or a soup or a sandwich or something.
Yep, it's light, okay? It's not going to have any strong flavors, and it's not going to fill you up so easily. And Sandy says, actually, a salad does sound refreshing, so lead the way. If something's refreshing, it kind of makes you feel brand new again. And indeed, a salad might be refreshing on a hot day. It might help you cool off a bit. It might be reinvigorate you, give you some new life so you can face this hot summer day. And if you tell someone to lead the way, you say, well, you take me there because you know where this place is. I don't know, so you lead and I'll follow.
All right, and so a bit of time passes. It seems that they're now at the restaurant. Keith is looking at the menu, at the choices of food they have there, and he says, I love all the ingredient options they offer here. So maybe it's the kind of place where you can sort of make your own sandwich or build your own salad or something. They have ingredient options, things you can or cannot choose to put in, but he likes them because there's a wide variety, and Sandy agrees. She says, yeah, it's nice how they let you pick your proteins and other add-ons. Okay, so maybe they have sort of some basic salads with, lettuce and tomatoes, but then you pick some other things, especially your protein options. When we talk about proteins, these are the types of nutrition we get from eating meat, eating beans and tofu. Those have proteins, very good for building muscles and staying strong. The kind of thing, as I said, you get from meat, not necessarily from fruit and vegetables. Those would be more vitamins and minerals, but proteins are things you often get from eating meat. Eggs as well, for people who don't want to eat meat. So you can pick those proteins. You can have some salmon, you can have some chicken if you're a vegetarian, maybe some beans or tofu, those types of things, and other add-ons, some other things you might choose to throw in, like maybe some bacon bits or some green onion or whatever for a bit extra flavor. And then she says, so what kind of protein do you usually go for? So, what kind of meat or something do you usually go for or choose?
I should mention the word protein again can be countable and non-countable depending on the circumstances. If you're talking about different kinds of proteins, then it's countable. If you're talking about protein in general, then it's non-countable. For example, I don't get enough protein in my diet. I need to have more meat or something like that. And again, yes, what kind of protein do you usually go for? Which kind of protein do you prefer? And here's what Keith says. Well, I love the salmon, but today I'm going to have chicken and hard-boiled egg. How about you? Now, salmon, of course, is a kind of fish, and that's what he usually loves. Salmon's kind of an orange-pink sort of fish. I guess it's quite healthy. Lots of people choose to have salmon, but maybe he's had a little bit too much salmon recently. He's kind of tired of it, so he's going to have something else. He's going to have chicken for his protein, and he's also going to have hard-boiled egg. You could also say a hard-boiled egg here. You could count it there. So these are forms of protein, and now Keith wants to know what Sandy would like to have for her protein.
All right, and she says, I think I'll keep it vegetarian and go with the tofu. So she doesn't want to eat meat products. That's what a vegetarian chooses to make their diet. Anything except meat, basically. Vegetarians will often eat eggs, cheese, things that are made from animal products, but not the actual meat or flesh of an animal. Sometimes you could choose to eat fish. In that case, you might be a pescatarian, which means I eat fish, but I don't eat beef, pork, chicken, those types of things. Or if you're a strict vegetarian, yes, no meat products or nothing from a dead animal for a vegetarian. Thank you very much. So she'll keep it vegetarian, keep it meat-free, and go with the tofu. Kind of like go for, go with, that's what I'll choose. That is my selection. And Keith thinks that's a good call.
That's the right decision for you. I think your decision is quite mature and approvable, even though I'm having chicken. And then Keith goes on to say, and do you like anything crunchy in your salads like croutons or nuts? So usually salad is, well, I don't know, do I call it wimpy or kind of soft or whatever because it's just those vegetables. Sometimes you can make a salad fun by putting something crunchy in there. If something's crunchy, it makes noise when you eat it, like potato chips are crunchy. And of course, she could choose between croutons or nuts. Croutons are kind of like little pieces of dried toast.
Yeah, basically toast that you bake in an oven. Sometimes you flavor it with garlic or spices, and they add that crunchy aspect to what is otherwise a soft salad. We would call that texture. They like different textures, soft things and crunchy things. It's just more enjoyable to eat them, and the croutons will add some flavor. And she says, I love the texture, that nice crunchy texture of the croutons with the softness of the tomatoes or the lettuce. It makes a nice combination. And Keith agrees. He says, a classic choice. Yes, croutons on a salad is a classic choice, though, he adds, however, kind of he's saying, I prefer nuts myself. He likes his crunch to come from nuts, but he agrees that croutons is a good, classic, solid choice.
And Sandy says, well, to each his own. Every person has their own personal preference. You like your salmon or your chicken. I'm going to have the vegetarian salad. That's okay. Anyway, thanks for suggesting this place, Keith. And it looks like they're having a very refreshing lunch. It's time now to move on to part 2, homemade salad dressing. Let's listen first.
Homemade salad dressing. As they eat, Keith and Sandy talk about their preferences in salad dressing.
This salad is great, but I think I might have chosen the wrong dressing. It's a bit heavy and masks the flavor of the veggies.
Really? I thought that bite you gave me was pretty good.
It's not bad, but I usually make my own. That way I can make it exactly how I like it.
Oh, so what do you usually put in your dressing?
I like to mix olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and some honey for sweetness. And sometimes I'll add a little mustard for tanginess.
That sounds tasty. I usually just get ranch dressing, but I'm trying to branch out and try new things.
Ranch is good, but I find it a bit heavy too.
How about tahini dressing? I tried that recently and really liked the nutty flavor.
Oh yeah, tahini is delicious. And it's a good source of healthy fats too.
Maybe I'll try making some myself sometime.
第二部分先来看到名词 dressing， 它有调料或是佐料的意思。例如 This salad dressing requires only 3 ingredients to make. 这种沙拉酱只需要3种原料就可以制作。或是 I made a salad with lettuce, carrots, tomato, and Thousand Island dressing. 我用生菜、胡萝卜、番茄和千岛酱做了一份沙拉。最后我们介绍名词 preference， 它指的是偏爱、偏好或是喜好。例如 Modern consumers show a preference for environmentally friendly products. 现代消费者表现出对环保产品的偏好。又或者说 Gina has a preference for wearing comfortable clothes rather than fashionable clothes. Gina 偏好穿着舒适的衣服，而不是时尚的衣服。另外，这个字去掉字尾 ence， 就会变成动词 prefer。例如 Lisa prefers her tea with no sugar or milk. Lisa 比较喜欢茶不加糖或牛奶。最后一个例子 The cat prefers to sleep during the day and run around at night. 那只猫宁可白天睡觉，晚上到处跑。
Okay, so remember they've gone to a restaurant that features salads, and now they're going to talk about the salad dressing, which is the kind of sauce that you put on salad, but remember we call it salad dressing. We don't call it salad sauce, okay? So as they eat, Keith and Sandy talk about their preferences in salad dressing. Your preference is just what you prefer to have. It's what you would rather have. It's your first choice.
All right, so Keith is enjoying his salad, but maybe the dressing isn't quite right. He says, this salad is great, but I think I might have chosen the wrong dressing. Yeah, there are certain salads, and this is based on the ingredients of the salad, what proteins or vegetables are in it, and then you match it with a dressing, and you can have a garlicky dressing, or you can have a more of a sesame flavor dressing. You might want to choose the right vegetables to match with the dressing. In his case, he thinks he made the wrong choice. He says, it's a bit heavy. Here he's talking about the salad dressing. It's a bit heavy and masks the flavor of the veggies. So if you have a sort of roasted garlic cream sauce or something like that, yes, it might mask or cover the flavor of the vegetables. All you taste is the dressing, and you don't taste the nice fresh vegetables. So he just kind of thinks maybe next time he would choose a simple oil and vinegar, a vinaigrette, something a little bit lighter and not as heavy as the one he has now.
And Sandy says, really? I thought that bite you gave me was pretty good. So she doesn't think that it was too heavy. Keith said, well, it's not bad, but I usually make my own. Okay, so he's used to making his own salad dressing. That way I can make it exactly how I like it. And that's true. Some people cook for themselves because they don't really like the way food is prepared in restaurants.
That is true. And often, actually, a lot of the bottled salad dressings you buy have a lot of sugar in them. So if you're on a diet, it's good to make it at home, and it's easy to make your own dressing. And yes, you can customize it to your taste. And Sandy's interested in what Keith's special salad dressing would taste like. So she asks him, oh, so what do you usually put in your dressing? What's your personal favorite recipe that you make at home? And he gives it to her. He says, I like to mix olive oil, balsamic vinegar, and some honey for sweetness. There you go. That's pretty much a classic vinaigrette. You have the oil, you have the vinegar, and you have some honey to make it a little bit sweeter. Everyone knows olive oil, very good for you, very heart healthy, as people say. And vinegar, that's the sour stuff that provides a nice balance to the oil that you put in. Vinegar, what is vinegar? It's kind of a liquid. It has a sourness to it, kind of like a very strong lemon type flavor. We often use vinegar when we're pickling things. It adds a nice sour flavor to lots of stuff. And balsamic vinegar is that darker vinegar. Most vinegar is usually sort of pale. You can make it from rice or apples. Balsamic vinegar is darker, a little bit sweeter, and quite expensive. If you find a nice bottle of Italian balsamic vinegar, it will cost you a little bit. So he adds some honey for sweetness along with the oil and vinegar, maybe a bit of salt and pepper. And sometimes he says, I'll add a little mustard for tanginess. Mustard like the yellow stuff you might put on a hot dog. And it's also similar to the wasabi that people eat with their sushi. And that gives you another little punch of flavor to it. Tanginess in this case, something that you'll definitely taste on your tongue. Not quite spicy, but it has a little bit of heat to it.
And Sandy says that sounds tasty. I usually just get ranch dressing, but I'm trying to branch out and try new things. She's going to branch out like a tree in different directions to try lots of new things. Keith says, well, ranch is good, but I find it a bit heavy too, which means it's going to cover up the flavors. It's not light enough. And Sandy says, well, how about tahini dressing? I tried that recently and really liked the nutty flavor. Before today's lesson, I had not really heard of tahini dressing before, but I think that's some kind of Middle Eastern dressing, right?
Yeah, it's often made with sesame seeds, and it does have a nutty, almost a peanutty kind of flavor to it. It can be really nice when you mix it with things, and as a salad dressing, it can be lovely. If you like the flavor of satay, that sort of peanutty Indonesian barbecue or Malaysian barbecue, you'll probably like tahini. Key says, oh yeah, tahini is delicious, and it's a good source of healthy fats too. Yeah, a lot of people like tahini because it gives you flavor, but without some of the extra calories that other things might come along with.
Yeah, so that's one example of a salad dressing. And then Sandy says, maybe I'll try making some myself sometime. Make her own tahini salad dressing. And we did mention tahini. We did talk about balsamic vinegar. When I was a kid, of course, we had, about 3 or 4 choices? You could have Thousand Island dressing.
The classic.
You could have French dressing. You could have blue cheese.
Russian? Did you have that? It's kind of like
we had
tomato-y.
that too. My favorite was always blue cheese.
Ooh, nice.
I like that. Some people don't like blue cheese because it kind of tastes like mold or something. What was your favorite?
Well, blue cheese is good. That might be another one that Keith would say is a bit heavy, right? It has a very strong flavor to it, but if you like it, it's great. I've always kind of liked a nice vinaigrette. I make one with a lot of mustard. I use that sort of German grain mustard, crush some garlic, some oil, some vinegar, salt, and pepper. I love that. My wife's favorite, though, is more the Asian style. She makes me roast some sesame seeds, and then I put those in with some rice vinegar and sesame oil and stuff. And that's really good, too. So there's a wonderful rainbow of salad dressings out there. And the fun thing is that if you get bored of one, you can easily make a very different one right there at home. So you really never get bored with eating your healthy vegetables in your salad.
Exactly. So this is a hot day, and it would be a refreshing idea to have some salad on such a scorcher. Okay,
I think my dinner menu is decided after this dialogue.
Me too. I think that's what I'm going to have after our lesson today. Well, now it's time to turn things over to Hanny, our beloved Chinese teacher.
各位同学大家好，我是 Hanny。 我们来看今天的文法重点。在课文第一部分的对话里， Sandy 还有 Keith 去的那一间餐厅是可以让顾客自己挑选蛋白质和其他附加食材。那么 Sandy 就问 Keith, So what kind of protein do you usually go for? 所以你通常会选什么蛋白质呢？这边我们来补充一下 go for 的几个不同意思哦。第一个是像课文用法表示选择，例如 I think I'll go for the cheeseburger. 我想我要选起司汉堡。好，那么第二个意思呢，可以表达喜欢被某人或某事物吸引的意思，例如 I don't really go for that kind of music. 我不太喜欢那种音乐。好，那其实我们还可以用could go for something 去表达想要什么什么，这时候意思就会跟 would like something 差不多。像 I could go for a cup of coffee right now 就是说我现在想来一杯咖啡。好，第三个 go for 可以表达接受同意，像是接受同意某个建议或是计划等等。例如 We asked the vendor to give us a discount But he wouldn't go for it. 我们要那一位摊商给个折扣，但他不接受。好，再看到第四个用法，我们可以用 go for 去表达试图得到、努力争取的意思。那它有一个相关用法是 go for it。这时候它就类似中文的放手一试，我们就可以用 go for it 去鼓励人去做困难的事，要对方来放手一试、大胆一试，或者是努力争取的意思哦。好，那么对话里面的 Keith 说他喜欢鲑鱼，可是今天他想要吃鸡肉和水煮蛋。至于 Sandy 他则是说I think I'll keep it vegetarian and go with the tofu. 我想我会吃素食，所以我选豆腐。好，这里的 go with 跟我们刚刚介绍的 go for 其实都有选择的意思。那么 go with 它可以表达出选择或者是使用、接受、采纳等等的意思。我们这边也顺便补充一下 go with 的其他用法。 好，第一种我们可以用 go with 去表达搭配，与什么相配，像 A goes with B 或是 A goes well with B 可以用来形容 A 和 B 两个事物彼此在形状啊、颜色、味道等等方面很相称。举例来说， The necklace goes well with your dress 这条项链跟你的洋装很搭耶，非常搭配。好，再看到第二个用法，我们可以用 go with 去表达伴随，随着什么什么一起出现。举例来说， If you want to start your own business, you have to accept the stress that goes with it. 如果你想自己创业，那就得承受伴随而来的压力咯。好，那么以上是今天重点整理，我们来回顾今天的单字吧。
Crush. The army crushed the rebel forces and regained the lost territory. Protein. Eggs are a great source of protein and iron. Vegetarian. The vegetarian lifestyle promotes a diet rich in grains, vegetables, and fruits. Crunchy. Wesley's favorite cereal is both crunchy and sweet. Texture. The texture of the fresh lettuce provided a contrast to the soft bread of the sandwich. Preference. Mrs. Hodges has a preference for tea over coffee. Vinegar. Joel likes to put salt and vinegar on his French fries.
Well, that brings us to the end of another edition of our program, and please make sure you join us again next time. From all of us here, I am Mike.
I am Roger. See you next time.